Although the boys' bodies have not been found, the prosecution has said that evidence, including interviews with the West's other children, indicates the boys were killed in September of 2020, 3 months before the West reported them missing. The West are charged with second-degree murder, involuntary manslaughter, and other offenses and face life terms in prison if convicted.
The trial of Jacqueline and Trezell West resumes this morning with testimony from Apryl Brown, a criminalist at the Kern Regional Crime Lab. The West are charged with murder and other crimes in the deaths of adopted sons, Classic and Cinsere, also known as Orrin 4 and Orson 3. Their bodies have not been found. Brown helped process the West van in December 2020. She was told to look for blood stains in the vehicle. Brown testified she applied a chemical to the interior of the van to detect possible blood, while another person photographed the van. There were very few, very tiny positive reactions on the bumper of the van, she said. There were 4 rows of seats and a total of 5 car seats in the van, Brown said. Prosecutor Eric Smith is displaying photos of the interior of the van. Smith gave Brown an exhibit and asked her to circle the car seats that were not properly secured in the vehicle. She circled a car seat on the passenger side of the rear of the vehicle and one on the third row seat. Smith ended his questioning, and Alexia Torres Stallings, lead counsel for Jacqueline West, has begun cross-examination. Brown testified the positive reaction of the chemical on the bumper was smaller than a grain of rice. There were 3 or 4 spots of that size, and they were not swabbed because they didn't appear significant, she said. No DNA or fingerprints were taken on the van because they weren't asked for, Brown said. She said it's the family van, so it wouldn't be surprising to have the family's fingerprints or DNA on it. Torres Stallings is going through different methods to secure a car seat. Brown testified she did not determine whether there was a latch system for the car seats or ask law enforcement why the car seats were situated as they were. Torres Stallings ended her questioning, and Victor Nasser, an attorney for Trezell West, has begun cross-examination. Brown testified a color change from the chemical she sprayed on the van doesn't necessarily mean there is blood. It's a screening tool. There would have to be follow-up tests. Nasser ended his questioning. Smith, on redirect, asked Brown to look at her notes regarding the car seats. On December 23, 2020, she wrote seat on passenger side not secured. She said she meant it was not in place, properly in the seat. She also wrote middle row car seat was not properly in place, was leaning forward. Smith ended his questioning and Brown has been excused. David Loyo has been called to the stand. Loyo lives on Lotus Lane, has for the past 5 to 6 years. That's in the same apartment complex where the West lived before moving to California City. In January 2020, he was aware of Trezell and Jacqueline West living near him, he said. He believes they were already living there when he moved in. Loyo testified he had brief contact with the West while walking in or out of the apartment complex. He doesn't know how long they lived near him. Loyo said he saw 3 or 4 kids with the West. His kids would wave hello to the West children. They never went outside, Loyo said of the West children. Loyo said his children would play outside during the summer. They never played with the West children because they were indoors, he said. This was pre-COVID. The West van was always parked near the back of the complex instead of in the assigned spot, Loyo said. Loyo said he became aware that they had moved because he saw the blinds open and the apartment was empty. I didn't see them moving out. He said he remembers one day they were there and then they were gone. Smith ended his questioning. Torres Stallings is asking about his employment at Boathouse. His hours in 2020 were midnight to 8 a.m. He slept during the day, 4 to 5 hours, from 8 a.m. to noon or 1 p.m. Loyo acknowledged he went on a podcast to talk about this case. He went there first to give his statement and didn't talk to law enforcement until March 2022. Loyo testified he told law enforcement he saw 4 to 5 kids. He said he wasn't aware Jacqueline West's mother lived in an apartment nearby and didn't see that apartment with any children. Can you even give us a time frame? Torres Stallings asked of when he noticed the West had moved. Loyo said he's not good with times. Regarding his YouTube interviews, he was asked about how often he saw the kids, etc. Torres Stallings ended her questioning, and Nasser has begun cross-examination. Nasser asked a couple of quick questions and ended. Loyo has been excused. David Hunter has been called to the stand. He's employed by the FBI. Has been there for 12 years. He's a special agent in the Bakersfield office. Hunter primarily conducts investigations regarding crimes against children. He said he assists local agencies on occasion. Cal City in December 2020 asked for his assistance from the FBI's evidence response team to collect evidence, Hunter said. On December 23, 2020, Hunter went to the West home to search the backyard. We conducted a search of the ground of the property, Hunter said. They used probes to poke into the soil for depressions or hollow areas in the ground. There were 2 locations that had loose soil or hollow areas, Hunter said. Flags were placed there and they were excavated, he said. They obtained soil samples. No human remains were found. The FBI took digging tools from a shed on the property and gave them to local law enforcement for analysis, Hunter said. 8 items were seized and turned over to Cal City Police. Smith ended his questioning, and Timothy Hennessy, lead counsel for Trezell West, has begun cross-examination. The FBI by May 2021 was in a secondary role, and Hunter said he recalls receiving a report of a sighting of the boys in Texas. The location was Arlington, Texas, Hunter said. The information was passed on to Bakersfield law enforcement, he said. Hennessy asked about a license plate, and Hunter said he didn't personally follow up on that, but provided it to the Bakersfield Police Department. Torres Stallings is now questioning Hunter. Hunter said he was on the evidence response team on December 23, 2020. Torres Stallings said the search warrant was issued at 8 p.m. and gave him a copy. Hunter said the warrant indicates the time the warrant was executed, not obtained. Hunter said he was provided info that a K-9 had been at the location, but doesn't recall that an officer disturbed the ground before they got there. The pole used to probe the ground is made of fiberglass and T-shaped, and it's pressed into the ground. It's just to find out if the ground was disturbed, any hollowness under the surface, Hunter said. Nothing that appeared to be a human remain to the visual eye was found, Hunter said. On December 29, 2020, the FBI did not stop investigating the case, but a report handed to him by Torres Stallings indicates they stopped investigating electronic evidence, Hunter said. The FBI was in a secondary role. Hunter said he has investigated missing children cases before, but couldn't give Torres Stallings an exact number or how much of this job is taken up with that. Hunter acknowledged they can investigate crimes across state lines. Torres Stallings ended her questioning, and he has been excused. Ryan Hulse has been called to the stand. He's an officer with California City Police. He went to the West home on Aspen Avenue on the night they were reported missing, December 21st, 2020. Hulse testified he drove around the area to see if there were any children matching the boy's description. He spent a couple of hours doing this. Hulse said he found no signs of Orrin or Orson West. Hulse said he wrote search warrants for the home, van, and DNA samples from Trezell and Jacqueline West. Smith has displayed photos of the envelopes of the DNA swabs taken from the West. Smith ended his questioning. Torres Stallings asked if he spoke to any residents regarding the disappearance. Hulse said he didn't, nor did he look for homes with surveillance cameras. Holt said that he didn't write a report of his actions on December 21, 2020, nor did he tell anyone where he was driving as he looked for the boys. He said he doesn't remember what streets he drove. Holtz testified when he first arrived, he got a quick story about what happened, then drove around looking for the boys in the southeastern portion of the city. Most of them, he said, when Nasser asked if he drove up and down every street. Holtz has been excused. The next witness will testify remotely. The court is taking a 15-minute break to get set up. Court is back in session. Megan Silverlake is testifying via Zoom. She's a field photographer with the FBI. She also receives and can enhance video and audio. Silverlake testified she received video related to this case. There were 3 videos she was asked to enhance. She received the videos April 13, 2021. Silverlake said she changed the contrast and lighting and added a sharpening filter for all 3 videos. Silverlake sent the files back to the agent who requested them. The videos Silverlake worked on have been admitted into evidence, and Prosecutor Eric Smith ended his questioning. Alexia Torres Stallings is asking about the work done on the videos. Silverlake said they're taught to look at the image and, if they can make it clearer, save that image. Torres Stallings asked if there were any other methods used to enhance a darker image as daylight went to dusk. Silverlake testified she used more intense levels for that to potentially see any objects. Silverlake enhanced 2 videos from December 19, 2020 and 1 from December 21, 2020. Torres Stallings ended her questioning, and Victor Nasser is questioning Silverlake. For brightness and contrast, she uses the software manually to make it as clear as possible, she said. Silverlake has been excused. Austin Huynh has been called to the stand. He's a forensic lab technician at the Kern Regional Crime Lab. Huynh currently works in the DNA unit. Huynh was shown photos he took of a sealed evidence bag. He said the bag was properly sealed when he received it. One of the items was a diaper. Huynh said he photographed it and swabbed it for DNA. He swabbed on the inner linings. The swab was cut and placed in a tube and labeled with a lab number for later DNA analysis, Huynh said. Smith ended his questioning. Huynh has been excused. The court is taking a break to set up for the next witness. Ryan Dean, Orrin and Orson's biological mother, is testifying via Zoom. She named the children Cinsere and Classic, and the West renamed them Orrin and Orson. Dean said Cinsere, Orrin, lived with her for 3 months until he was taken. Classic, Orson, was taken from her after a few weeks. Dean said she came to know a foster parent named LaToya who gave her access to the children through visitation at an office. She had visitations 2 to 3 times a week, she said. Dean testified the visitations lasted about 8 or 9 months. She said Orrin was happy, smart, funny, and loved music. Orrin also was happy, she said. Dean said she did not become aware that children were being adopted. After all of this, she learned that they had been adopted. Wow. Dean said she never went to the West apartment or had any visitations outside the ones with the Department of Human Services. She had no contact info for the West. Dean said she met attempts to get the boys back. She took parenting classes and other steps. She learned the boys were missing after hearing from someone, then seeing it on the news. Their photos were on the news, Dean said. She hadn't realized their names had been changed. Dean went to Cal City to get answers. She asked the West what happened, and they lied to me, Dean said. That comment was stricken from the record. Dean said she had never been to Cal City before that day. She helped search the area, Dean said. She had contact with Cal City Police. Dean testified she provided a DNA swab to Bakersfield police detectives and gave them a cell phone number. The BPD eventually became the lead agency on the investigation. Asked if she took the boys or asked someone else to, Dean said no. Smith ended his questioning. Hennessy has begun cross-examination. Hennessy asked Dean if she remembered telling LaToya the boys went missing early, the morning after the disappearance. Dean was unsure at first, then confirmed that, and said she learned the address of the West from the news. Dean said she's back and forth from Texas. She lives in an apartment in Arlington, Texas. Tori Stallings is now questioning Dean. She said Orrin was taken from her because he had a broken leg. Dean testified she was not aggressive or confrontational with Jacqueline West during a visitation. Have you ever lied to law enforcement? Tori Stallings asked. Yes, Dean said. Through redirect, Dean testified she wasn't home at the time Orrin's leg was broken. Dean has been excused. Court is in recess until 1:30. Court is back in session with another witness testifying via Zoom. The witness is the sister of Jacqueline West. She now lives in Oregon, where she went to escape an abuser, she said. The sister said she became aware Jacqueline was moving in September 2020 because she told her through Facebook. Rodriguez ended her questioning. On redirect, the sister is saying she's having trouble remembering what she told the grand jury when she testified. To almost every question posed by Smith, the sister responds, "I don't remember." She said she can't remember specifically asking for photos of the West children before they were reported missing. "Have you ever seen photos of the adopted children?" Smith asked. "I saw them afterwards," the sister said. The sister said she's been in chemotherapy treatments and it's really not helping with her memory. The sister has been excused. Detective Jesse Perez has been called to the stand. He's with the Bakersfield Police Department. Perez said he was assigned to look for video and witnesses in the West case, among other things. He focused on the date of the reported disappearance. Perez went to Lancaster, California to 3 major retailing businesses to look for video evidence. The dates were specific to when the disappearance was reported. The businesses were Lowe's, Winco, and Costco. He observed Trezell West making purchases from Lowe's and Winco, and Jacqueline West making purchases from Costco. This was in October 2020. No one was with the West. Records showed Trezell West in the area of Yokuts Park, and he tried to find video to place him there, Perez said. The time frame he looked for didn't have any video available. That was also in October 2020. Perez testified he also viewed video from Union in California at what was then a Food Max. Perez reviewed Facebook and Instagram data for the profiles belonging to Jacqueline West. She primarily had contact with her sister, Perla Martinez, and her mother, Maria Martinez. Smith is showing Perez some Facebook records which the detective identified. Judge Charles R. Bremer has called a sidebar. The judge and attorneys are back, and 2 exhibits have been admitted. Their Facebook records. Perez said the records were for Jacqueline West's account. A profile photo for Jacqueline West's account in 2019 shows her with 4 of the children. On December 23, 2020, Jacqueline West sent a message. "Please tell them we love and miss them. The boys need to ask for a lawyer if they want to talk to them again. I don't want them twisting whatever they are saying." The message was sent to Trezell West's mother and had to do with law enforcement questioning the West's 4 other children, Perez said. Another photo sent in 2019 on Christmas Day shows Jacqueline West and 4 children. Orrin and Orson aren't pictured. A photo on February 4th, 2020 shows the entire West family, including Orrin and Orson. That photo was sent to Perla Martinez, Perez said. On May 22, 2020, Jacqueline West told her sister about an incident with the youngest children in which Orrin ate Orson's food. Jacqueline West then sent a gif of a woman with her hands up and teeth clenched, as if she was angry or frustrated, Perez said. Jacqueline West, in other messages that day, said she believes Orrin and Orson had certain characteristics from their biological parents, Perez said. On June 8, 2020, Jacqueline West refers to the little one's birthday. "He is a little weird one," she wrote. She says he stands or sits all day. Perez said he found it odd that Jacqueline didn't use the child's name. On September 12, 2020, Jacqueline West sent a photo showing 4 of the children, not Orrin or Orson, according to the records. Perez testified he reviewed digital devices for this case. In one device, he found photos and videos of the children, some from Orrin and Orson in 2020. The date was July 25, 2020. The videos appeared to have been taken by the eldest son, showing the children playing with toys. They appeared to have been taken at the Lotus Lane apartment in Bakersfield, Perez said. Smith is moving videos into evidence and is going to play them for the jury. The first video shows Orrin West playing. It's about 6 minutes long. The video was taken on July 25, 2020. Perez has identified 3 still images taken. One shows Orrin from the video that was just seen, showing Orrin with a toy tow truck. The next photos show Orrin West in a diaper. They were all taken July 25, 2020. Smith played another video, this one from July 26, 2020, and Orrin and Orson can be seen in the van. One of his goals was to find the most recent photo or video of Orrin and Orson, Perez said. Perez testified he reviewed several digital devices. There were about 17 or 18. On USB drives, there were photos of some of the other children, but not Orrin or Orson, Perez said. Perez testified he was involved in a wiretap during the investigation. The wiretap occurred February 24, 2021 to March 14, 2021. Perez is explaining how the wiretap works to intercept telephone calls and listen in. Smith ended his questioning. A 15-minute break has been called by Judge Brimmer. The trial is back in session, with Jesse Perez back on the stand. He's being cross-examined by Timothy Hennessy, Trezell West's lead attorney. Referring to the Facebook records, Perez said the Facebook report is about 4,000 pages. Only a small portion was relevant to the investigation, he said. Hennessy asked some clarifying questions about when certain photos were taken, then finished. On redirect examination, Perez said he was present when DNA swabs were taken of Charles Perez, the biological father, and others. Smith ended his questioning, and Perez has been excused. Bakersfield Police Detective Carlos Arvisu has been called to the stand. He is a certified Spanish translator with the BPD. Spanish is his first language. In December 2020, he went to Maria Martinez's home. She's the mother of Jacqueline West. There was a search warrant for her phone. Trezell and Jacqueline West were also at the home, Arvisu said. He was there with several other detectives. Arvisu assisted in translating Facebook messages between Jacqueline West and her mother. On September 18, 2020, Jacqueline West tells her mother they're now in California City, Arvisu said. On the same day, she tells her mother they're going to get a U-Haul and will clean the apartment because it needs paint. Also on the same date, Jacqueline West sends a message to her mother saying they're waiting for Trezell's mother so they can go and do the rest of it. On September 19, 2020, Jacqueline wrote, saying that he wants to go to the house, but he's not going to sleep, Arvisu said. On the same day, she gives the area of the Cal City home. Later that day, she wrote, "We've arrived." On September 20th, 2020, Jacqueline West wrote, "We're leaving now," to her mother. Later that day, she wrote, "We've arrived," Arvisu said. Arvisu testified he listened to wiretap calls. One appeared that they were trying to get out of Bakersfield pretty quick, he said. Arvisu said he recognized the voices involved. He said he had spoken to both Maria Martinez and Jacqueline West. Smith is going to play a wiretapped call for the jury. The call is dated March 12, 2021. Transcripts will be provided to the jury. The call is in Spanish and the transcript has been translated to English. Smith ended his questioning. Audience members do not have a copy of the transcript. Torres Stallings asked about the call. Arvisu said West was at first speaking to a male in English, then in Spanish to her mother. Regarding the Facebook messages, Arvisu said he uses a time zone calculator to determine the time when the messages were sent. Torres Stallings, asking about the Pacific time, said she's only asking him to do basic math. She is asking questions to determine the time the West arrived in Cal City on the date in question. UTC time is about 7 hours ahead of California time. Torres Stallings ended her questioning. Arvisu has been excused. BPD Senior Officer Jaime Orozco has been called to the stand. One of his duties is to help with wiretap intercepts. He has participated in 4 wiretaps while at BPD and assists in Spanish-English translations. He listened to a wiretapped call between Jacqueline West and Maria Martinez. The call was pertinent because there was a joke about missing children, and people laughed during the call. Either the mother or daughter talked about missing socks, and one of them said, "Maybe they will pop up like the missing children." And they laughed, Orozco said. This call will now be played for the jury. The call is in Spanish. Smith ended his questioning, and Torres Stallings has begun cross-examination. Orozco agreed there were 3 topics going on in the conversation. He said he translated the transcript she's holding. On page 6, line 3, it says, "Transcribe net transcripts." Orozco said that's not him. Torres Stallings said she has no further questions. Smith on redirect asked Orozco if he assisted with the translation. He said yes. He's not the only person who reviewed it, but he reviewed it for accuracy and it appeared to be accurate. Orozco has been excused. BPD Detective Thomas Hernandez has been called to the stand. He went to the Jameson Center to listen to an interview. He was later assigned lead investigator. Hernandez identified certification letters for T-Mobile records. He authored warrants for numbers for Maria Martinez, Ryan Dean, and a number they never identified the owner of. One number was for Jacqueline West, Hernandez said. Hernandez testified he reached out to a company regarding paternity tests for the children, and he authored a warrant to obtain those DNA profiles. The profiles were booked into evidence and submitted to the Department of Justice. During any missing persons investigation, the DOJ asks for DNA samples to compare to any remains they may find, Hernandez said. He also gave the profiles to the Kern Crime Lab. The DNA results were obtained from a North Carolina company called LabCorp. Court is in recess for the day. The trial resumes at 9 a.m. tomorrow.